Welcome back to Gintama, a story where it's one boy's struggle with the loss of his mother. And strangely, that's no real exaggeration. That's essentially Kamui's entire plot progression. It started with him trying to gain the strength to protect his family, protect his mother, take her away from this horrible life where she's slowly decaying. He never really got over that. Is now really focusing all of his anger, all of his aggression, probably onto the wrong people. But let's not forget there's a big intergalactic war and power beyond imagination still out there, so is this story going to be put on hold? I don't believe so. This one is far more powerful right now. Ooh, what's this? Overlay grey splattered filter over the screen. Make it seem as though this entire thing is on like a canvas. And of course, after Gintoki thrust himself into the situation, having a little flashback of a conversation he had with Umibozo. A different solution than head-on confrontation. There are so many ways in which all of our lives can veer off heavily just by relatively simple fluctuations. Losing a loved one is probably a great catalyst. And now that we've seen the four generals and the family of Yato, I think that's all of the kind of backstories we need for main characters right now. We get fully emotionally invested in their stories. And I will try not to pay attention to this little bit of a preview. And the fact that, you can carry on an arc thing to part 10. That he really wants to get away from what he once was. The fact that he... Well... Oh yeah, and Hosen really fucked with Gintoki. But... He's so hung up on not being able to do anything back then that... The mere fact of him being a brother, stupid or not... And of course it pans over to Kagura in the background. Nice deflection. Oh, all it took was a completely broken finger. But a fractured arm, broken at the elbow. He's gonna lash his hand to it so he doesn't drop his sword. Their levels of strength may be vastly different, but purpose is definitely one thing. And never forget the tenacity of humans. Getting a few good hits in. A moron. Gintoki kept fighting to not lose anything. There's been so much taken from him already. Is it going to change how things go forward? I kind of expected the end of the final few episodes, end of an arc, is going to try and bring out that emotive side. Life would be boring if it wasn't for everyone he met along the way. Is this a point where his words are going to slightly affect Camus in his fight there? By everyone relying on him to this point, creating the life that he has. Getting him to think not everything is already gone, buried. As long as there are those that are still around you to fight for. I almost forgot that bit of fighting at Hosen. With the hilt of his sword. The better he becomes. I mean, he's the protagonist. Well, kinda. Just how far is he gonna reach? I mean, it's not the final goal, as we're saying, isn't Kamui. If he wasn't able to go beyond there. That was excessive amount of animation for that little show. He faltered for a second. At least considered holding his punch back slightly. So within the depths of despair, there's at least part of that stupid brother left. He has, what, that internal voice inside him is just taking control? His internal monologue. Oh, the inner Yato, is that what it was? Like when Kagura was fighting before and almost lost herself to the berserk stage of battle. That's the one I was remembering. He's... As was being said before, empty. Oh, we're getting the Infinite Rise piano. Yeah, broken arms mean nothing anymore. As long as they're attached by at least a couple of tendons, that's enough to throw a punch. Taking that kind of blow to the neck. For him to step in right now. After basically raising him for so long, having him around. Knowing when he's going too far. What kind of strength is this? Really objecting to his way of taking things right now. He's not going to do too well faring against Kamui, though. But for him to take that stand... If that's the way you want to take things. Ah, he was watching. He's too stubborn for that. You know, all of them were so alike it hurts. How many have, as they all grow old, tried fleeing from something painful just so they didn't have to face it? For the price of it from years back. A kind of proxy father figure. Seeing them run, said Haru. Seeing them fight together, it's not a lonely battle that they're fighting. That was a quick little action he took. To be fair, first Shinpachi to stand up and take this action when Gintoki himself was beaten into the wall. There's so many walls to overcome for everyone, isn't there? Even for them that aren't particularly focused on pure strength. It comes in many forms. And is it given everyone else a bit of time to recuperate, to join in? It's not going to stop them. That's why. As a kind of last visit, the ideals of a child. Yeah, you probably should. The fact that it's as a child, she's so attentive like that. Being the glue that holds them together, considering half of them are idiots. Has she done well? However, and can this entire arc just be condensed into just family? The lifetime of pain just being expressed in a few short moments of fighting. He's still attempting to move, but is it blood-starved Kamui? To think they are battered to this extent. I see. At least being a little self-aware in the moment. Overcoming instincts. Barely able to stand. There's no need to continue on. The fight was over before it was decided, thanks to, well, for that little falter in the beginning. She barely has the strength to even keep her eyes open. After we had the fight between the siblings, coming to that understanding together, and get blasted with a scene like that. In spirit. There'll always be a family. Despite how many times you try to kill each other. She is, she's grown up so well, taking in the lessons of her mother. Really, not much to learn from Umbozu. And that's where you end the episode. After that kind of that kind of moment, actually allowing him to rest a little. And how many kind of internal conflicts and struggles do, well, everyone really have to fight through just on a daily basis. Even if we don't possess fighting umbrellas and Yato blood. Pain and battles can take many shapes, many forms. And when it comes to family, sometimes they can be the hardest. But they were wrong. He wasn't completely empty. But in her waning last moments, her thoughts with her family, Kamui was with them in spirit or in her heart, so okay. Would the fact that him not being there, him being absent from that moment, also be eating away at him? An extra reason why he's fighting so hard to, well, run away from his pain. And don't we all just long for a warm embrace? Hopefully not while both arms are shattered and you're bleeding excessively. But I guess it's kind of how things go. You're never actually able to say what you mean, get across your point or what's hurting until you've reached that breaking point. In this case, it was just a physical clash of this kind of level before he finally able to see it for himself and then let things go. And we build up small little families for ourselves all the time. If we all had a group to rely on, quite like odd jobs, well, our troubles would be tenfold, but you could very well rely on them when it counts. But I said it before in previous episodes, this is exactly what Gintama does. It takes a story which, at its roots, is so grounded and relatable, and then kicks up to a notch where you got aliens, interplanetary battles, and power levels which are very confusing. But the fact that we were shown there exactly why Gintoki fights, how far he's willing to go, his battles aren't directly what's in front of him now, but he's always chasing further onwards. This is just a stepping stone to his greater task. And of course, everything that he's built up now, everyone that he knows, even those that may be detrimental. I'm looking at Hasegawa. He's there to protect that life, protect them all. And I feel they'd be fighting the same battle. But with Kamui now able to sleep, release a little of what was pent up, overcoming his Yato blood, cooling himself down, and, after a little bit of recuperation, maybe not be so adversarial. Things are looking up. Apart from the fact that all of the main players now are heavily injured. Right before a big battle with the invincible man, well, immortal one. If you're looking forward to that, consider letting me know. Leave a comment and like down below. Consider subscribing to not miss out. Help grow the channel as much as you can. It all comes from you enjoying it. Just get yourself a bit of rest. I'll see you there.